the critical thing is A, that it's really fast. I mean, 100 up to 150 times fast means that a 1 hour show we can do in well under a minute. And the number of times I used to do 1 hour radio programs, and remember at 58 minutes, Pro Tools would come up with that lovely error message, can't keep up, sorry, bog off, not doing it. And you would taking a big deep breath, and you'd have to start the bounce again. Now, obviously, some of us use bounce track, so it isn't quite as catastrophic, but that ability to be able to bounce a show very, very fast is just absolutely phenomenal. But it gets even better because, as Russ was already intimated, not all offline bounces are the same. And so with Avid, I've spent ages working at this to get it sounding really, really good. But more importantly, what they want to do is to make sure that that an offline bounce is perfect. It is the same every time, because that's one of the issues with some offline bounces, is that you do an offline bounce once, you do it again, and you don't get the same file. So what you can do is, if you were to take a real-time bounce and then take an offline bounce, put them together, antiphase it, null it out, there will be nothing left. And you can try that with a number of other offline bounce systems, and you may well find that you have things left, because they wanted to make sure that it was absolutely on the nose. And one of the other things they've done is to get the automation to happen exactly when it was meant to happen. So this whole new offline bounce facility is going to make a huge difference in audio post work, when we're creating stems, music and effects stems, just dialogue stems, commentary stems, music stems, effect stems, which we often have to do to deliver these different separate elements of the mix so they can be remixed for different foreign language situations. They can take forever to play out. And so again, to be able to do this in non-real time is just going to be a real time and time saver, and presumably for music guys, this is also going to make a big difference.
Yes, I was about to say that one of the things that that probably won't be clear when you read the information on the Avid site, but we know is the case, we have been told, is that you can choose the stem that you bounce. So, for example, if you've got a keyboard track, and let's say, for example, let's choose a memory hog Omnisphere. Let's say you've got an amazing string part in Omnisphere, and it's just pulling your Pro Tools system down, which is probably going to be less likely in Pro Tools 11 anyway, because of 64-bit and a few other things we're going to tell you about in a while. What you can do is you can choose that track as the output stem, and then you can tick the box re-import after bounce. You can do a non-real-time bounce. It will bounce it out. It will bring it back in as the stereo pair. You can then disable the original track that has the virtual instrument on it, and you have a track freeze.
Yeah, so we've
Brilliant.
got, so this is not just offline bounce, it's also that long requested track freeze feature, which, as you say, for musicians will be an absolute wondrous opportunity.